Good morning, everyone, and happy Saturday. So if you haven't noticed, I've been putting videos up. I've taken some time off, but recently found some time to do more of this, and hopefully I can continue putting some videos up here. So welcome to my channel. I'm Antone Dabbs, and today I was going to talk about being on the autism spectrum. So I'm 53 years old. 6 months or so, I was diagnosed with being on the autism spectrum. I went in thinking I had attention deficit disorder and was looking to be diagnosed for that. And it ended up being a lot of testing, IQ test, ink blot test, lots of questions, lots of different things. And it came back, I do not have attention deficit disorder. I have autism. I'm on the autism spectrum. So I just thought I'd talk a little bit about what that means for me. It can mean a lot of different things for different people, but here are some common experiences that I deal with. So sensory sensitivities. I can either have heightened or diminished sensitivity. I might be really sensitive to sounds, light, textures, or other sensory inputs, or sometimes I might not notice them at all, at least not as much as others do. I can be overwhelmed. Sensory overload can make me feel overwhelmed, anxious, or distressed. Social interactions are definitely affected by this. I can have difficulty with social cues. Reading facial expressions, body language, and understanding social norms can be tough for me. Communication challenges. I might struggle with verbal communication, including understanding and using the language the way others do. So I might use words and say things that just are a little bit off or not like other people would use the words when I'm trying to get something across or make a point or something like that. Preference for routine. I prefer routines to get anxious when things aren't with my routine or there's change or something that's unpredictable. So I go to bed every single night at the same time. If things if something comes up to where I'm going to bed a little bit later than my normal time, I get anxious. I don't know why, I just do. I need to be in bed at exactly that time every single night. And then if I don't, I get anxious. And what can that do? That can cause me to not sleep real well because I'm in bed, dealing with that. Excuse me, guys. And, it can cause a panic attack because with my autism, some things that I experience are anxiety with it. Cognitive and behavioral traits. And I get intense interests. I might have a strong focused interest in specific topics or activities, sometimes called special interests. And, I'll watch a movie and I'll have my phone in my hand and I'm Googling things. But usually by the end of that movie, I've Googled every single character, all the main characters. I've read their whole life story. I know what other movies they're in. I can tell you their birth dates, all sorts of things about them. And I'm doing that while I'm watching the movie. I can't help it. It's just my brain's always going looking for that stimulation, and intense interest do that for me. If you guys watch some of my older videos, you'll know that I went down a rabbit hole with vintage music and buying cassette tapes and cassette players and ways to listen to it and stuff like that. So I can go down that rabbit hole quite a bit. I have repetitive behaviors. I might engage in repetitive actions or routines. You'll notice in a lot of my videos, I kind of rock and stuff. That's one of my behaviors, So one of the things you can't see is I tap my teeth a lot, and I can do it in a rhythmic kind of thing. But you wouldn't see that, but you'll see that I rock a lot in the chair, and that's also one of my autistic traits. I also have a really odd attention to detail. I often notice details that others might miss and can excel in areas that require skill because I notice everything. That's another thing. I'll be watching a movie and I notice everything about their facial features, their hair, their clothing, all that stuff, where nobody would really pay much attention to those things. And I do that within all sorts of things throughout my day, not just watching movies. How does autism affect my mental health and my emotional health? Like I said before, I get anxiety. I know it can affect people with as depression as well. I don't get that too much, but there's times where I feel down, and it's usually the changing of the seasons is when I feel a little bit that way, but it usually passes pretty quick. When I do feel down, I usually go to my wife and tell her that I'm feeling down and tell her I could use a little bit of extra love or whatever the case is, and she's really good about that, and it doesn't last very long with me. Need for support, that's something I just talked about. I may need support in social, educational, and work settings to succeed. Educational as in learning new stuff, with programming or whatever it's usually business related. I use Facebook, some of the Facebook groups for autism and anxiety as well, and that's a really good way for support, so try that if you haven't. I have some different kinds of strengths and abilities because of this issue, if you want to call it an issue. I guess it's not really an issue, it's just the way I am. I can offer unique viewpoints and creative solutions to problems. I've always been really good like that. That's what made me really good in business. I have some really good memory skills on some things, but not so good in other things. And I process information just a little differently, which in business helped me. It helped me quite a bit, and I was very successful with my company. I sold it 5 years ago. It was called Lemon Squad, and you can watch a video on Lemon Squad that I have put a couple up on that and learn more about that. But it started out as a very small company in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and then went on to have thousands and thousands of people working for it. So it worked out really well, and I plan on starting another one now that I sold that one. Autism is a spectrum, meaning that people can have a wide range of abilities and challenges, and some of us might need significant support, while others are highly independent. And I'm on that part of the spectrum. I'm very independent, and I don't need a whole lot of help. But understanding and supporting myself involves recognizing my unique needs, strengths, and challenges, providing an inclusive environment that accommodates my differences and can help me thrive. And I think I've done that with my life. I put myself in a place and surrounded myself with a way that I can do really well in the world. So anyway, that's just some of the things with dealing with my being on the autism spectrum. I know everybody's different, and there's different degrees. I have people in my family that are nonverbal with autism, so they're further along that spectrum than I am. I happen to think that what I've got has been great. It's done me well. I don't know that I would have gotten further in business without this, because the way my brain works has really helped me in business. So I think in my case, it was probably a good thing, but it also came with baggage too, right? Not everything was great. The anxiety has just been horrible. But fortunately, I started medication a couple years back, and that's really made a big difference for me. The anxiety has been the worst part about me dealing with this mental health stuff. So, but anyway, guys, I'm going to go up to Beaver Bay, Minnesota today. If you know anything about the North Shore of Minnesota, which I'll be doing another video on, we're known for our smelt run. Smelt is a little fish, and we get a run of those at a certain time of the year, and they catch them, and you have a smelt fry, and you eat smelt. And we're having a smelt fest in Beaver Bay, Minnesota today. So that's at 11 o'clock. It's 9:30 here. I'm going to run up to that, and it's all you can eat smelt for $10. And I'm going to eat smelt and hang out and have some fun for a little bit, and then come back home and work around the house for the rest of the day. So anyway, I hope everybody has a great weekend, and we'll see you on the next video. Take care, guys.